name is Bhumika Chauhan. Welcome back to our channel, and in today's video we are going to learn a tiger in the zoo. So we are going to do the line by line explanation, message, theme, central idea, all the literary device and some important questions. So it's a beautiful poem, and in this particular poem the poet is trying to convey a message that all these animals should live in their natural habitat. That is their right? So let's get started. What is the theme? The poet examines the feeling of loss and imprisonment. Theme of, please do underline this point, theme of loss and imprisonment that a tiger in a zoo experiences, as well as the contrast between the animal's wild, untamed soul and the constrained life it is forced to live in captivity, right? Tiger, or all the animals, like all the other animals like lion, tiger, monkey, bear, there are so many animals. When you go to a zoo, when you visit a zoo, you basically see all these animals there in captivity, right? We are doing this for our entertainment, yes or no? But I think that's not right for all these animals. Why are they in cages? Why they are in cages? Right? They should not live their life like that. We are no one. We are nobody to force them to live in captivity for their entire life. Right? So please do underline this thing. He will basically show us, the poet will try to show the contrast, like how a tiger should live and how he is actually living in a zoo. What is he feeling? What is the tiger feeling? Right? Is anything like so many things bothers tiger over here in this particular poem, and he feels disconnected, like he doesn't care about all the people around, right? Because actually he is trying to control his anger. He's quietly moving in that small cage, right? He's quietly moving around the confines of his cage. Yes? So he is irritated because he's not free. Yes or no? So let's get started. It's an important and it's an amazing poem. He stalks in his vivid strips, the few steps of his cage, on pads of velvet quiet, in his quiet rage. So there are some few important words that you need to know, because they always ask questions, right? He stalks. What is the meaning of stalks? Follows, or he's moving quietly. Okay, vivid strips. Vivid means bright. Okay, vivid means bright colored. The few steps of his cage, on pads of velvet quiet. Pads are paws of a tiger. Paws of a tiger. And in his quiet rage. Rage is basically anger. So the poet says here that the zoo tiger moves, that the tiger in the zoo moves around in his cage under his brightly colored skin, right? And he goes on to say that the tiger can only take a few steps. Why? Because the cage is very small, bacha. The cage is really very small, and it is difficult to move around in that cage. He's not able to move properly in that cage, right? And the footsteps are unheard on pads of velvet quiet. He has very soft, very velvety, right, feet, paws, and there is no sound of tiger's footsteps, right? So the tiger basically over here attempts to control his anger in this cage, because he is confined and he cannot do anything. He is irritated and he is not free and not happy. So he's basically moving slowly in that particular cage, and his footsteps are unheard because of the soft velvet paws, and he is in anger because he is confined, he is not free, he is not in his natural habitat, right? He should be lurking in shadow, sliding through long grass near the water hole where plump deer pass, lurking in shadow. So over here, it is the description of a tiger in the zoo, and what should be, where a tiger should be? Tiger should be in his natural habitat. Yes or no? So lurking in shadow. Instead of being in that particular cage, he should be hidden as to wait for the prey. Lurking as in hidden. In shadow. So to be hidden, basically as to wait for your prey. Right? Yes or no? Sliding through long grass. So he's hiding behind that long grass. So if this tiger was free, he would have hidden behind the long grass. Right? Near the water hole. Water hole is basically water bodies where plump deer pass. Plump deer as in a fat deer, so that he could easily catch a deer for food. So essentially the poet is saying that tiger's natural life is to live in natural habitat, is to live in the jungle where he can catch and eat his prey. Whereas the tiger over here in the cage, he cannot do all these things. Right? So this is the contrast the poet wants to convey. The poet wants to show that he is in cage. Instead, he should be doing all these things in the jungle where he actually belongs. Right? He should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs, his claws, terrorizing the village. Snarls as in a warning sound. So he should be snarling. What he should be doing? He should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge. Right? Baring his white fangs, baring as in showing his white, sharp teeth. Roaring. His claws terrorizing the village. So he's a dangerous animal. It's a dangerous animal. And he should be doing all these things. Human beings should be afraid, should feel scared of his presence, which is not possible over here in the zoo because he's in the cage and people are, enjoying in front of him. Yes or no? So according to the poet, if the tiger had been free, he would have been snarled around the house on the jungle's edge, on the outskirts basically of the jungle, right? With his, sharp teeth, like razor sharp teeth and claws, right? Yes or no? He would terrorize the people. The people living in the villages near forest, they would be terrified. But that is not happening. Instead, he is here in a cage doing nothing, just walking. And that only few steps. Not more than that. Yes? So he is locked in this concrete shell. But he is locked in a concrete shell. His strength behind bars. His strength behind bars, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. He is ignoring visitors. Right? Just question yourself. Why is he ignoring these visitors? Because he knows that he cannot do anything. He is behind bars. He cannot show his strength. And there is no, it's like he's feeling, I feel like he's struggling. He's feeling confined. He's feeling that all these things are useless. I cannot show my power. I cannot use my strength. They all are standing in front of me. right? They all are standing in front of me and I can't do anything and I do not belong here, right? So the poet basically has arrived at the reality of the tiger in the cage. He's talking about that he basically claims that the tiger is a powerful animal, but he is at this point of time, the tiger is imprisoned in a very strong cell, in a concrete cell, he's saying. So his strength is behind bars. His cage is made of strong building material, that is concrete, right? So he says that because the tiger is imprisoned, right, his ferocity, his strength, his ferocity, his strength, his power is also limited, right? His ferocity is also imprisoned, his strength is also imprisoned. He just stalks around in the cage and he cannot do anything. And because his power is limited by the cage, he never tries to terrorize these people around him, these visitors around him. So as a result, he basically never attempts to terrorize these visitors because he is irritated, because he cannot attack them, so he thinks that it's useless, right? What is the use of wasting, energy when he cannot use his actual strength, because he knows that I am behind these bars and I cannot terrorize these people. They will not feel afraid of me because they know they are safe, right? He hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. Oh my God. Patrolling cars, all these guards, right? So he hears the last voice at night. So according to the poet, basically the tiger hears the last voice of the guards, right? So the cars, I think in the middle of the night, he's basically, he is only able to hear the patrolling cars in the middle of the night, and the patrolling cars are basically police vehicles, right? They are police vehicles that are used to patrol at night. That is every cage closed, or is everything all right? So as a result, the tiger hears the last voice, like he hears the sound of these cars at night, right? And this is also a contrast, because in jungle, it's not possible. In jungle, there are no cars and no patrolling, no police, no guards, right? So he then looks up in the sky at the stars with his shining eyes. It stares at with his brilliant eyes, like shining eyes, at the brilliant stars. So the poet basically wishes to express that the tiger is sad, right? And he's helpless because he is confined in the cage, and as a result, he stares at the stars in the night, attempting to basically, I think, divert his thoughts, right? Probably he also wants freedom, but there are these bars, right? There are these bars and he's behind them, and he's longing for that freedom. He wants that freedom. So over here in this poem, first literary device is personification, because the tiger is personified. He hears, right? He is logged, his strength, he should be. First one is personification. Next one is enjambment. What is an enjambment? Line continues to the next line without any pause or anything. So over here, he stalks in his vivid strips the few steps of his cage on pads of velvet, quiet in his quiet rage. So over here, we can clearly see the full stop, right? Yes. Next one is oxymoron. Oxymoron, basically use of adjectives which are opposite in meaning. quiet rage, oxymoron. Quiet and rage, two opposite words together, right? Next one is alliteration. Is there any alliteration you can see? Plump, pass, PP, sound of, like whenever there is a repetition of consonant sound, that is an alliteration literary device. Take it, that is an alliteration literary device. So, the sound of plump deer, pass, right? Next one is, he should be snarling. Snarling is onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia is basically the sound, right? The sound, when we give a name to that particular sound, that is onomatopoeia. Okay, so that's the poem, and I feel like the poem, or this poem contrasts a zoo tiger with a tiger in the jungle, in the natural habitat. Yes? Yes or no? So the poem basically travels from the zoo to the jungle and back again. That he should be doing this, but he's doing this. So the poem contrasts a tiger's mood, he contrasts his environment in the zoo and a tiger's mood in the natural habitat, in the environment of the forest. Yes, he has no freedom in the zoo. He is imprisoned in a concrete cell, right? He is behind bars. Yes, and he is enraged, he is frustrated, he is helpless. Yes or no? So this reminds him of his natural habitat, hiding and sliding in the long grass near the water body, and yes, and pouncing on the fat deer, pouncing on the fat deer, basically terrorizing the villagers, right, with his sharp teeth and his claws and everything. But he's not doing all these things, and he is ignoring these visitors over here. He hears the patrolling cars late at night, right, in the zoo. Yes or no? So the tiger is feeling frustrated. The tiger over here is helpless. He feels like he is over here a showpiece and a source of entertainment for visitors. That's it. Right? And we are doing this with all these animals for our entertainment, for our fun. So the poet basically wishes to convey that keeping wild animals in the zoo or enclosures away from their natural habitat is cruel. This is like, it's a bad thing to do. Are you guys getting my point? Right? They are away from their natural habitat. This is cruel. So in the cage, they are angry, they are helpless, they are unhappy, and he pays no attention to anybody, to the people who have over there come to watch him. No, he doesn't care about them. He stares at the brilliant stars in the sky with his shining eyes because he's longing for that freedom. Right? His eyes is shining, right, in the darkness. Yes or no? So zoos, aquariums, and all these things, I don't feel like that. I think we should not do all these things, right? Yes, so the basic message of this poem is conveying, your poet tries to convey the important message that wild animals should be in their natural habitat. That is the main message of this poem. Yes or no? Right, everyone? Got it, everyone? Okay. So, read the poem again and work in pairs or groups to do the following tasks. Find the words that describe the movements and actions of the tiger in the cage and in the wild. Arrange them in 2 columns. So, in the cage and in the wild. In the cage, stalks. In the wild, lurking in shadow, right? Hiding behind that long grass. Few steps in the cage, like he can walk only few steps in the cage because of that bar, because of that cell, concrete cell. And over there in the natural habitat, he can slide through long grass. Quiet rage, He's angry, but he cannot do anything. Here, snarling around houses. He can terrorize actually people living over there in these villages around forest. Locked in a concrete cell, bearing his white fangs in his claws. Stalking the length of his cage. In the cage, terrorizing the village. Ignoring visitors. Stares at the brilliant stars. Right? Yes. Find the words that describes the two places and arrange them in two columns. Cage and wild. Cage, few steps off his cage. Wild, shadow. Concrete cell, long grass. Logged, water hole. Behind bars, plump deer. Visitors, houses at the jungle's edge. Patrolling cars, village. So, two places and in two columns. So, in cage, all these things are happening, and in wild, all these things are happening. Right? Notice the use of a word repeated in lines such as these. On pads of velvet, quiet in his quiet rage, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. So the repetition is a poetic device. What is repetition, literary device? Repetition is basically when we repeat. This repetition is a poetic device used by the poet in order to increase the intensity of tiger's rage and his helpless silence. Velvet quiet refers to the quiet velvet pads of the tiger, which cannot, so velvet quiet and in his quiet rage. So quiet and quiet. You can see this word. He's repeating this word. So whenever you see repetition of a word or a phrase in a poem, that means the poet wants to emphasize on that particular idea. Right? He wants us to think about that thing that he's saying it again and again and again and again and again. That quiet rage, quiet velvet pads, because he cannot do anything. He's helpless over there. That's why he's quiet. There is no way he can do anything. He cannot terrorize people. He cannot pounce on the fat deer and, eat or devour it. He cannot do all these things. So velvet quiet refers to the quiet velvet pads of the tiger, which cannot run or leap. He cannot run, he cannot leap, and they can only walk around the limited space in the cage. Yes? The use of quiet rage symbolizes the anger and ferocity that is building up inside the tiger as it wants to run out in the forest and attack a tiger. Because that is the natural instinct of a tiger. Obviously, he wants to do that, right? But the rage is quiet because he is locked in the cage and is helpless. He is locked in that cage and he is feeling helpless and he wants to do so many things. And he's not able to do that. That's why he's feeling sad, he's feeling unhappy, he's ignoring everybody there. Right? So the repetition of quiet has thus brought immense beauty to the poem. Similarly, the use of brilliant for the tiger's eyes, as well as the stars, also brings out the magnificence of these lines. The tiger stares at the brilliant stars with his brilliant eyes, like the stars are free in the sky, but he is not free in the cage, dreaming about how beautiful his life could be in the forest. Right? So the repetition gives us a wonderful effect to the poem. Yes? Okay, how does the tiger feel in the cage? In the cage, he is in an angry mood. How does the tiger walk in the cage? He walks with pride. In the cage, is he walking with pride? No, it's wrong. Right? How should the tiger walk through the grass? He should walk with ease through the grass. Where should the tiger hide to himself? The tiger should hide in the shadow behind the long grass. Who passes near the water hole? The fat deer. The fat deer passes near the water hole. Right? So these are all the questions you can practice. I will share this with you guys, this PDF, and let's do some more questions like this. A tiger in the poem, A Tiger in the Zoo, has some obvious limitations. Describe them in contrast to its natural habitat. Okay, so the tiger in the zoo was confined to a small space and he was angry that he could not be free to move, yes, hunt and do what he pleased, forced to be a showpiece. Right? And the cage bars obstructed his view of starry nights. He cannot even freely look at the star, at all these stars. He's not able to do anything, guys. He's just sitting there looking at people. This was all unlike his natural habitat where he hunted fiercely and yes. It's a beautiful poem. I feel very happy, right? When we talk about such things. And we should talk about these things. That we should not do all these things with these cute little creatures. They also deserve, right, everything in their life. These are their rights. They should be in their natural habitat. They should not be in the zoo, right? Okay. So, one more thing that you all need to know, that we have Mega Vedantu Scholarship Admission Test, right? It's an important scholarship test and I think you all should register and you all should take this test. Why am I saying this? Because there are so many rewards, right? Whenever you give such scholarship tests, these tests basically prepare or these tests basically helps you to work or to perform under pressure. You will get to know that where do I stand in 2.5 lakh students, right? And in this class, in class 10th, it's a very important thing because in class 11th, in class 12th, you are going to give some competitive exams, right? And your performance matters. So what you have to do is, you should take these tests so that it will eventually build your confidence. It will help you to perform under pressure, right? And there are so many rewards related to this Mega Vedantu Scholarship Admission Test, and I would love all of you to please make sure that you all are registering for this scholarship test, and this is a scholarship test that rewards your dreams. So I think you all should register. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 10th and 11th October are the dates. The link is in the description. I want you to all I want you all to please register for this scholarship test and enjoy all the rewards. Like you will get scholarship on all Vedantu courses, you will get to know your all India rank in 2.5 lakh students, and there are so many things like 150 crore worth of scholarship, 2 crore worth of cash prizes and rewards. So there are so many things that will eventually motivate you, right? So I think you all should take this test, Mega Vedantu Scholarship Admission Tests. Yes, thank you so much everyone. Bye bye, take care, all the best.